Ain't nothing better than watching you smile. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Ain't nothing better than watching you laugh out loud, my baby. Ain't nothing better than watching you be you. Ain't nothing better than right now. In your eyes lie the secrets I don't wanna miss. Put your hand in my hand and make a fist. Grab my shirt.
Hello, welcome to 30 Minutes with Margot. Now I am recording this via my phone because my new webcam doesn't work properly. Those of you who have been following my social streams over the last couple of weeks will know that technology has been giving me a little bit of a headache over the last couple of weeks, culminating in my Apple Mac dying and taking the hard drive and therefore my whole entire life with it. A couple of years ago I would have probably got under the duvet, refused to come out, and that would have been my life over. These days I'm a lot happier in myself and in the world that I live in, and I lost my book, which I had actually finished. I had actually completely finished it. I wasn't telling my writing coach that yeah I'm on it. I had finished it, and that is the only thing that I really regret not having. Other than that, nobody died, and I started the day with as many children as I finished the day with as many children as I started with. So really, that I can't ask for much more than that, and we just have to accept what's happened and move on. So this is why today's theme is bouncing back, and I do have a question from one of my viewers, and it's, why does it always happen to me? Why do bad things always happen to me? My sister seems to be living a charmed life, but everything always goes wrong for me. Well, there's two things I'd like to address there. One is, why are you comparing yourself to your sister? Really, you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. So what you see as a charmed life, she might actually be struggling with stuff. So never compare yourself. The other thing, if you think that it's always bad things that are happening to you, you need to change your mindset. And a nice way to do this would probably be a gratitude journal, a gratitude diary, which is a book where you're going to write down, you're going to focus your mind every day and write down the things that have happened to you, which are actually quite nice. Nice things that have happened to you, good things, like the lady smiling at you on the bus. Little things like finding a pair of shoes that matched this morning and you were only 5 minutes late getting out of the door. That sort of thing is going to focus your mind, and if you are looking for the good things in life, you are going to find them. If you look for the bad things, you're going to find them. So you're just training your mind to be in a happy place, and when you're in a happier place, happy things happen to you because you are attracting them, because you are in a place where you can see opportunities, rather than being in a place like this where you can't see anything around you. So that's my advice on that one. Okay. Now, when something awful has happened, the way that we cope with it is by acceptance, by putting it into perspective, by seeking social support, by forming a positive plan of action for the future, by learning from what's happening, and of course finding the opportunities and the where do I go next in the aftermath of what's happened. So with that in mind, I have written a document which you can download from my website on the download page. You can print it, you can copy and paste it onto your own. You can do what you like with it. And that will give you 7 steps to dealing with something that's happened. And if I just go through them with you, number 1 is look for the positives. There is always something positive in every day. Eliminate the emotion. Dissect what's happened. Look at it logically. Look at it from the outside. Because if you break it down into manageable pieces, the whole is not going to be so overwhelming. So that the more you can break down what's happened into component parts, the better for yourself. Number 3 is be good to yourself. Don't sit in a corner beating yourself with a stick. That helps nobody. That changes nothing. And get support. Get rid of that stiff upper lip. If you need help, if you are not coping, don't say, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, these things happen. No, it's fine. Say, look, I need time to process what's happened. I need time to grieve for that thing that happened. Or that thing that didn't happen. Let people help you. Now, whether that be family members, somebody like me, a therapist, friend, whatever, get some help. Number 5 is focus on the future. Where do you go from here? Don't sit in a corner think, oh, I'm too scared to do anything else, or I can't cope, I can't make a decision. Get on with it. Step out, step on. Number 6 is always have a B plan. And this is as probably hindsight, much the same as people saying to me, back up, back up, back up, when I've actually already lost my hard drive. So hindsight is a wonderful thing. But in the future, look to be, you've got your plan, but buffer it either side with a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, a plan E. So you can go ahead, safe in the knowledge that if anything wobbles, you've got some wriggle room, and you can divert if you need to. And number 7 may sound a bit trite, but be happy. Find a happy place in all that's going on. Find a happy place. Smile, laugh. Because if you force yourself to smile and to laugh and to be part of the bigger life and the happiness that, you know, a child, the way that they laugh. If you laugh and smile, your brain is going to catch up with you. So act how you want to be. If you want to be happy, act happy, and your brain will soon catch up with you. So there you go, there's the 7 steps. And as I say, if you go onto the download page of my website, www.mrsbloom.org, you will be able to find the link to that document, and you can do as you please with that. So now we go on to my interview, and this part of the broadcast is where I interview women who are in business. And we're looking at the way that not only that they run their business, but also, and why they run their business that way, but also how they manage their stress and their life-work balance. So this first one is with my friend Taryn. I've known her a long time. She does all my websites and my graphic design. I rely on her to take all the fuzziness and the ideas out of my head and to make them tangible, and she always does that. She always over delivers, and I'm very happy that over the time that we've known each other, I can now call her my friend as well as my web designer. So here is the interview with her. Good morning, Taryn.
Good morning, Margot.
Okay, let's start with the first question, which is tell me about your business and where it stands at the moment.
I'm actually a web designer, and I do online marketing and social media. Um, I've been doing this for about 8 years now, and the business started off as a partnership with my ex-husband, and then I went on my own 2 years ago. It's been quite a journey actually, but it seems to be very successful at the moment, and it's going very well.
And why did you start the business in the first place? Why graphic design?
I've always been quite an arty person. I'd always liked designing things and trying different crafts and things. And I found I got a very good eye for that. But all my previous jobs hadn't been in that line. But I'd sat down and had a go, and it just took off. And I found that it was something that gave me a great deal of pleasure, as well as it was something that I could do.
Yeah, I would second that you have a good eye.
Thank you.
What was it you did before you went into graphic design and started your own business?
I'd actually worked for 10 years in London doing project management, and from there I went into marketing. So I've had probably over 20 years experience in project management and marketing in quite a lot of big successful companies. I travelled Europe for some time putting management systems into place. And what sort of came to a head was that I'd been working for a company and doing a lot of marketing for them and coming up with some great ideas. And I was in that sort of unfortunate position where my boss was the daughter of the company owner. And what she would do was take all of my ideas, completely trash them, and then when it became successful, she would take all the credit. And I started to think, well, I'm getting more and more despondent about doing this for somebody else. If I've got all of these ideas, why don't I do them for myself and actually see if I can start helping other people run their businesses and do something that I enjoy doing, rather than doing it for somebody else's behalf who doesn't seem to appreciate it, and that it's kind of making me unhappy to do.
I can identify with that. Thinking about the reasons why you started in business for yourself and started this particular business, do you think now, 8 years on, that you have stayed true to your original vision, or has it evolved?
I think all businesses grow and evolve. When you initially start out, you try and do so many things and you try and cover all of your bases. And as time goes on, you then start to realise that the things that you are very good at and the things that perhaps you can drop off. In terms of the reasons why I started the business, that has very much stayed true. There are a lot of companies out there doing what I do that seek to rip people off. It was very easy it still is very easy to say that you're a web designer. There's so many packages out there that make it easy for people that perhaps have a little bit of technology behind them to say, I am a web designer. And they put huge price tags on that. I always said I wanted to be able to help the smaller businesses that were just starting out, that couldn't afford the big agencies, that couldn't afford the big fees, and I wanted to be able to help people that were just starting out, that were trying to get a foot on the ladder, which were trying to get a web presence. And I've stayed true to that. That's the area that I work in. I find that I'm still perhaps not as business savvy as a lot of the agencies, because I don't charge the huge costs that they do, and I do an awful lot for my clients, because I think that's relationship building, and that's what you're there to do. I don't think it should all be about money. So that whole ideal of what I wanted to do has definitely stayed true. It perhaps doesn't always pay the bills as much as I'd like it to, but it means that I sleep well at night. I know that I'm not ripping anybody off. I know that I've got a clear conscience, and I know that in the long run I've got a happy set of clients who will keep coming back to me.
And we do. So, having created the business that you want to run, and to be doing that every day, how does that impact on your social life and on your family life?
I'm very fortunate that I've got two teenage boys, and having had the business as long as I have, it's meant that I was able to attend an awful lot more school functions. If the boys were ill, I was able to be home for them during school time. So that has been a massive bonus for me. It's meant that they've had a lot more of me than they perhaps would have done had I been working for somebody else. When my marriage broke down, and I had that sort of debate about whether or not I would continue working for myself or go back into an employment, which I did consider for quite some time. One of the primary factors was the fact that working for myself means that I can give my children the time that they need and be here for them. It's meant that some evenings I've had to sort of say to them, right, okay guys, come in from school, sort yourselves out, mum needs to carry on working for a bit. It's perhaps meant that if I have gone out during the day, I've had to work in the evening. But having that flexibility is brilliant. In terms of social life, it hasn't impacted at all. One of the things I have learned, and one of the ways the business has evolved, is that in my partnership, I found that the office door never closed. When the boys went to bed, I was perhaps carrying on working till 10, 11 o'clock at night. I was working weekends. But then once I started by myself, I sort of looked at the things that had made my marriage and the business fail. And one of those was the amount of hours that were invested into the business. And occasionally the boys had said, Mum, can't we do this? And I've said, no, I've had to work. So I've actually set myself a lot firmer working hours now. And I've tried to keep weekends for family time and social time as much as I can, because otherwise it does feel like that work just overtakes everything. I think when you're self-employed, you do have to be able to say, look, sometimes some weekends I've got to work, sometimes I can't make events. If I want to attend network meetings, then I'm now having to say to the boys, right, can you get yourselves up and go and get ready for school? Or I'll ring them when I'm on the way to say, come on, it's time to get up. But they're old enough now that that's okay and we can do that. So I think I've actually managed to find a really good balance now between family and social and work.
Yeah. And it lessens the impact if you're not every morning rushing off and leaving them to get themselves ready. The impact of the days when you are going to the breakfast meetings or the networking events is lessened.
Yeah,
and they understand.
They understand, they appreciate, and they're very good now at understanding that when Mum's sat at her desk, Mum is actually working. It's not a case they do come over and chat and they do interrupt, but I can say, look guys, I've got to finish what I'm doing. Give me half an hour. They know that means an hour. and then we're okay.
But as soon as you have finished and you've shut the laptop down, or no, you have big computer set up, when that goes dark, then that is family time.
Sure.
And all finished and done.
And I think they appreciate that a lot more. So they are very much aware that Mum is there for them if they need. I've got Christmas concerts coming up. My son plays drums and he's going to want me to attend events. He recently conned me very nicely and said, could I watch him go and play rugby? All the parents were going, so I had a full day stood out in a football field in a pouring rain, being the only mum there. But it pleased him for me to be there, and it showed that he got my support. If I was working for somebody else, I couldn't do that.
No, exactly. So, having eliminated the stress of working for somebody else and having the mutual support from your family, there are still days when things are very stressful, when everything happens at the same time, when you've got a project, when your son's got something he wants doing, when the food needs making. How do you manage your stress on days like that?
I think you get different stresses when you work for yourself. There's a lot of worry because you've not got a steady income coming in. You don't know whether or not the bills are always going to get paid. And like you say, there are times when you're in the middle of a project and it's, Mum, can you do this? Mum, can you do that? Or you've got to go and do something else. Having worked in London for 11 years, I thrive on that kind of stressful situation. I find I work better if I'm under a bit of pressure. As I said, I am very lucky that the boys are now that bit older that I can say, look, guys, enough. You know, the more you come and bother me, the longer it's going to take me to finish. And if you're that hungry, you know, you can go and sort yourself out. Yeah. I think being able to sit down with the family and say, right, guys, okay, we might need to tighten our belts this week because, you know, some of the money hasn't come in that I need it to, or yes, I know you need a new pair of shoes, but you're just going to have to wait a little while. I think that providing that you're honest and you're upfront and you explain what's going on. I did suffer in the past from bottling it all up and thinking, well, I can't tell them that because that makes me a failure. If I tell them that, you know, money's a bit tight at the moment, they might not think that mum's business is going so well, and that they might not be perhaps as proud of me as I want them to be. And then you realise that over a time you start to take that out on them, and you're snappier, and they don't understand why. And perhaps they then resent you and the business more than they do if you're honest with them and say, look, guys, I've got a pile of work that I've got to get done, or I've had a problem here. You know, I've recently changed servers and had to transfer all the sites across. That happened at a time when I wasn't expecting it to, and they transferred it when I was out of the house. When I came back, it was an absolute nightmare, and it meant that I was sat at my computer a lot later than I normally was. But by saying, I've got to do this, you know, this is one of the pitfalls of having your own business. They were very, very good about it and left me alone. And once I'd finished, there was a cup of tea waiting, and it was come on, well done, Mum, sit down. So I think providing you do actually talk to your family and explain what's going on, that's the best way of managing it.
Yeah, I agree. People can't support you if they don't know you need support.
I find it very hard. I do find it very hard to say, I can't do this, or this is a problem, because I don't A, like to burden them with it, or B, like to feel, as I say, that I'm failing in some way. And it does feel that, you know, and I'm very much the kind of keep it all to myself kind of person. And I'm having to learn that's one of the things that I'm evolving, the way I'm learning, is to share that.
I think for families it's more of all the yelling and the shouting and seeing mum in a state of anxiety is more of a burden than knowing that they're going to have to wait for that new pair of trainers for a couple of weeks. If we get ourselves into a state there, they don't care. They're teenagers. They'll have forgotten that they wanted a pair of trainers 2 seconds after they get onto the Xbox. So you've got 2 weeks grace, and they know that, so they put it out of their head and they think about something else. But what they can see every day is mum anxious and not happy, and that is more of a burden. So I think you're quite right there.
Can I say, will you buy me a penny?
And lastly, if I could get my rhinestone encrusted wand out and grant you your heart's desire, what would your home and business look like? Your home and business life?
I don't think it would look a great deal different to the way it is now. I'm quite happy with the way the business is. If you could wave it and give me a massive walk-in wardrobe full of shoes, all in nice little boxes with labels on, that would be brilliant. But I think in terms of the business, perhaps having a less of a financial worry would ease things a great deal. That said, in today's current climate, I think any small business that makes a profit, you know, I made a profit in the first year of trading. It looks like, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll do so again this year. So, you know, I'm quite happy with the way things are growing. The business is steadily improving. I'm getting more and more clients. So I think, that said, I think the balance between work and family I seem to have sorted out now. It's taken me 8 years to understand how to get that balance. But I think, yeah, just sprinkle your wand over here and just send us some shoes. That would be brilliant.
I will work on that. If my business grows, everybody who's helped me get there will get diamond encrusted shoes. I promise you that. Do you think that would you want a time when your business grew that much that you would have to take it out of your home?
I've thought about that. And I thought about how it would be to have an office that wasn't at home. And yes, that would be nice, to actually sort of have it completely separate to the house would be great. But then I'd miss those mornings, you know, where it's such a strain to get from the bedroom to the lounge in the pouring rain. And the, you know, the ability to be able to sort of look out of the window, I think I'm so glad I don't have to go out there.
Yeah.
So there are pros and cons. I think if the business grew enough that I needed an office, that would say to me, you know, that I'm reaching the stage where I perhaps need to start considering employing somebody. And that's a whole different set of complications.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that's something that certainly right now I'd want to consider. But long term, you just don't know.
No, no. Well, thank you very much, and I will let you go back to sorting out the mess I made on my websites. Thank you, Taryn.
Thanks, Margot.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was Taryn with her business, the way that she runs her business, and how it impacts on her lifestyle. And over the eight years, she has made sure that the business has evolved so that it doesn't impact on her family life. I would just like to add that the question of moving out of the home, off the kitchen table, out of the back bedroom, the business model which I have used to grow my business is to outsource to freelancers, to people who have more expertise on things, and I get rid of the things that I don't need to be doing, that I'm not good at. And I am able to concentrate then on the things where my heart is, and that is with my clients, supporting them. And although I am growing my business, I am actually able then only to work the hours that I want. And over the last 6 months, the hours that I work have significantly reduced, but my business is growing. So freelancers, using other freelancers is a very good way to grow the business. And I'd just like to finish off by saying that I am at the moment changing my business again, and I am now only going to be providing one program, the lifestyle management program, but I will deliver it on 3 support levels. The program will encompass life coaching, business coaching, energy coaching, abundance coaching, all in the same package. As I say, you can choose which level of support you have that package in. And the Diamond Intensive Weekend Retreat is coming up on the weekend of the 8th of December. Now, I'm holding this at the Chilworth Manor Hotel, which is very close to my heart, because before it was turned into a hotel and after it was a family residence, it was offices, and that's where I started my working life 25 years ago on a YTS scheme. So to see it as back to a residence, albeit a hotel, and to see that the gardens being beautifully done and the restaurant is lovely, so it is a perfect place for not only rest and relaxation and a little treatment in their gym and therapies centre, but also for me to help you to relax, give you the tools that you can take away with you to use going forward in your life, to be able to step back and allow me to help you build a base and think about what base that will be and where you're going next. So the weekend will consist of a lot of rest and relaxation, a lot of time in the spa and a lot of time with me one-to-one, giving you the basic skills and the clarity to move on. So what better way to prepare for the Christmas hustle bustle, and of course to go into the new year without having to write lists of resolutions, just going in, no to-do list. We're just going to be we're just going to jump into 2013. So I'm going to leave you there, and I will see you next week. Hopefully I will see you. There are 5 spaces left on the intensive weekend, but I will see you next week. Bye bye.